What up, folks? How's it going? How's it going? Hopefully everything's good today. Woo! What's up? What's up? Hopefully everybody's having a good day. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. Oh, yeah. Today's a good day. Hopefully you guys had a good one too. Uh, a lot of craziness. I'm getting feedback in my headphones. That's why I'm messing with this thing. Sorry. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. Hopefully everybody's doing good. Like I said, um, gonna get into some good stuff today. I just finished. Well, I didn't finish it yet, but I'm just about done. I was just getting into just finished my Epic of Humanity by Matthew LaCroix and Billy Carson. Appreciate you guys, both of you. Great, great researchers on the ancients, texts, scrolls, information, knowledge. It's great stuff. I love them. That's why I always talk about them. I'm sorry. Um, but today, I know last week we kind of touched on a lot of stuff pertaining to government issued jazz. We got into some of the ancient cultural stuff with the Emerald Tablets. Um, and the cool thing about that is because we can still do it. There's nothing wrong with us going over it again and again and again, talking about different things that are going to come up in the show. So, Freak Show Friday. Got my cup of coffee. Mm, ready to go. Ready to go. How is everybody? Everybody doing good? No? Oh man. Uh I don't know why this thing does that. Let me see if I can do this. I'm trying to look at my comments stuff and it's telling me here. I guess I can't have both of them open at the same time. So I guess I'm going to have to close this one and open it up on my phone, I guess. All right. How's it going? How's it going, everybody? So, like I said before, I am almost done with this book. If you guys haven't had a chance to take a look at it, read it, I really highly suggest that you do. What's going on, brother? What's going on? Brother Ken Bell in the house. How you doing, man? Ready to go. Get these conversations going, man. The book, um, really dives into, um, lost civilizations, timelines, the Anunnaki and origins of humanity, the founders of Atlantis, sunken cities of Earth, catastrophes, which I did not know that there was quite a few. And the last chapter is unveiling the matrix of reality, and it dives into some Bible scriptures. And um, the one thing that I love about Billy Carson and in Matthew LaCroix is like the Indiana Jones of our time, as far as the deep, deep research and understanding of ancient civilizations and the translation of information that are in the ancient civilization tablets, scrolls, um, hieroglyphs, um, and studying them and actually putting the narrative together with what they find in the information in the text itself. So, I mean, you get a lot of people that get translations and they put this stuff out there, but they're just going off of what they believe that it's saying. These guys actually get into it, find out, um, what the word meanings are, literally, and actually put the text into its right, proper context, and that's why I love it because they will give you, um, excerpts excerpts, um, through different books or different texts that you find, and they will match it up with either the mainstream narrative, which is right, but it's not actually right on, because when they give you the narrative of it, like I said, they're just going off of what they believe a word or words mean, and it can sometimes alter the reality of what the words actually do mean, which is what Matthew LaCroix does as he puts it in to its proper context. And, one of the, um, paragraphs that he has at the beginning of the book, I highlight, and when I don't know whoever else does this, but I highlight my stuff too, like important messages or important chapters or important verses inside of a book so I can go back and read it. But on one of the things that he says is, despite the challenges that present themselves, the first 3 factors, I consider the 4th to be a major reason why the old paradigm of history still remains unchanged. And without getting too deep down the rabbit hole yet, it is important to understand that a small number of extremely powerful individuals, secret societies that control nearly everything in our world today, that may seem like a bold statement to make, but for those who are awake and who are aware, it couldn't be more obvious. This control over the events of the history can be traced back to the time of Constantine the First and the formation of the Roman Empire around 330 AD. And I love how they say, the people that are awake, people that are understanding of stuff, because you get people that follow these things, but are not, um, awake to the information. They're just seeing it for its surface value, and they brush over it, but they don't do the research to get deep down into the information itself. And so it's, they're just like, some more Egyptian crap. And that's where you get it, the information that gets lost between a lot of people that don't do their research. Um, and the people that do their research on lost civilizations, ancient cultures, and, putting the aspects of the mainstream narrative and what we have now, finding of all this information. Göbekli Tepe, we know it's over 12,000 years old at least. We know that the ancient pyramids are a lot older than what we've been told. If the Emerald Tablets were written about 36,000 years ago by Thoth, was what he's saying, and he's saying that I was the constructor of the Great Pyramids, what does that tell you? And, the Sphinx itself, he's saying that he hid his ship at the base of the paw underneath the Sphinx, so that way in the time when these invaders or whatever, or humanity needs its help, they know where to find it. Pretty crazy stuff. I know it's going off subject and getting into something else, but like I said, you know, look into it, Emerald Tablets, both, and the information that he's putting out there and what he's saying. So, um, I like I said, I'm about to finish this book up. Sorry, I had my one of my kiddos come in and ask me so. But it's just amazing to go over this stuff and actually see the information that's in it, like with the King's List. If you don't know anything about the King's List, it's the ancient Sumerian tablet. It's a clay block that was written down about all the kings lists, their names, how long they ruled, what part of the area that they ruled over, and the names of those cities. I just love the way that they break everything down. I mean, they break down the 200-year timeline of civilization in the book. They give you references in the book so that way you could check everything out yourself. Um, and as I said, they break down the correlation between ancient Sumerian texts or different texts in Egypt, um, the ancient scrolls, the Book of the Dead, and correlations between that and Bible verses, to show that, during the time of Emperor Constantine and these pagan worshiping people that were around during that time, and actually implementing these stories into the Bible from these old ancient texts. As I said before, you can take my word for it, or you don't have to, but it's good for you to do your own research and come up with your own, um, theory on what your thoughts are, because as I said, it's good to have your own opinion, because when you see it, do it the research for yourself, it makes more sense. Um, I like one thing that really hit me was Matthew LaCroix talks about um, the forming of the first man, how the ancient Sumerian tablets, it's called the myth of Adapa or Adam, and it talks about how they formed him was really, really, really interesting because in the CIA document that I had posted or I had placed out, if you haven't got it yet, let me know and I will put it out there, but I put it out there like 3 or 4 times. So if you didn't get it, you wanna get a copy of it or get it, you know, go on the, CIA webpage and look for the, Adam and Eve story, and the Genesis story. What it is the information that is in that CIA document is them doing their own this exact what these researchers, Billy Carson, Matthew LaCroix, and they've been putting pieces of those things together. The CIA, the government has been doing their own digging. And what goes into that as well is that the CIA and the government have been doing this since the 30s. This is just since the 30s because this came out, the paper came out in 1965, 75, something like that. If they had been doing that research, what and also you gotta remember too that they hid the whole narrative of Tartaria, which a lot of people were going, "Yeah, this has gotta be something that's going on with this." And, they've been lying to us about something. Sure as shit happened because they got that information. The CIA document states that the Russians had, the, Soviet Union, uh, pretty much erased all the information on Tartaria, hid all evidence of anything of Tartaria, and not only just them, but governments around the world. We know that catastrophes, wars, and calamities and things that were Genghis Khan, World War I, World War II, Napoleon. We're actually seeing during the time of the Iraq War in Turkey and in Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan, you were having these cell groups who were working with governments to destroy, not only get rid of the objects of statues, buildings, texts. They were going into places and just totally destroying, um, these things to get rid of the evidence, and it's really, really, really sad when you think about it that you would have governments that would actually go so far that they would hire terrorists or pay them money to destroy these things, and the narrative that they were trying to put is that, "Oh, these, uh, Muslim fighters were destroying these things because they didn't have any significance or, relevance to Muslim culture." And I find that really hard to believe that, a culture as rich and, because like I said, when we were in we saw a lot of beautiful places and a lot of history that they were so proud of civilization. Alright, I just had to reset my router, uh, because they're using all the data, so it slows down my internet, it just freezes. But as I was saying, why would a culture that's so rich in history destroy these things that would show that the people who live in Mesopotamia, which Iraq, Syria, Turkey, um, and Afghanistan, and Libya and all these places, why would they destroy literally go and destroy these artifacts that show that they are actually, that this ancient history belongs to them. It shows the relevance of the importance of these people, and that's why I said you get a lot of, theories that, the governments, these, heads of state or these secret societies or, we do know now that one of the reasons why they got rid of Saddam Hussein, not only because he was gonna get on with, uh, Farrakhan, not Farrakhan, was it what's his name from Libya, and get away from the American dollar was that Saddam Hussein was gonna jump in on it with him, and not only that, he was claiming that he was a great descendant, the bloodline descendant of King Gilgamesh. So if you haven't even looked into that or noticed that, that is one of the things that Saddam Hussein was murdered for, because he knew when he erected the city or uncovered the city of Eridu, you had this big, giant original temple, this building, pyramid. He had them uncover this place because he knew the importance of it. He was like, "Hey, this is a part of my bloodline. This is who we are, and this shows my right to be the king, the leader of our people." And he also found alien hidden technology that was in Iraq. We know this for a fact because there was a lot of shit that was gone through and confiscated during the time of the invasion, and we tried to negotiate with him, and he was like, "Fuck no, I'm not giving you this shit. You have no right to this. This is our stuff. This is our heritage." And he kept it. I think it was called the Ziggurat of Ur. Let me, look something up real quick. Oops, sorry. I'm just looking up, some videos of these guys destroying these artifacts. Ah, here it is. Alright, let me go back, and we will screen share it, and you guys tell me what you guys think, because I mean, this is pretty gnarly when you think about it, and it just does not seem right to me. So, let's take a look. I mean, it's heartbreaking, but alright, here we go. Let's check it out.
Of destroyed priceless pieces of history. A video posted yesterday shows people taking power tools and sledgehammers to irreplaceable statues and artifacts in Iraq. One piece may date back all the way to 700 BC. Clarissa Ward is in London with why the extremists say it had to be done. Clarissa, good morning.
Good morning. Well, CBS News has not been able to authenticate this video, but it was posted on social media accounts that regularly are used by ISIS, and it shows what could be the loss of artifacts up to 2,700 years old.
Sledgehammers, drills, and bare hands.
the weapons used by ISIS in its latest demonstration of destruction. This video appears to show the inside of a museum in the Iraqi city of Mosul. The extremists strip the ancient statues of their protective coverings, then shatter the priceless relics. A religious spokesman for the group condemned the treasures as sacrilegious. These idols and pagans for people in the past centuries were worshipped instead of Allah, he said.
Idiots.
When Allah ordered to destroy and remove them, it was an easy matter. We don't care, even if it costs billions of dollars. Here, a militant at an archaeological site is seen destroying an ancient winged bull, a symbol of an Assyrian deity. The artifact is believed to date back to 700 BC.
This means the irreparable loss of some of the world's oldest and greatest antiquities, antiquities that are representative of the cradle of civilization.
Jim Cuno heads the J. Paul Getty Trust, an organization devoted to the preservation of art and antiquities.
It roots us in our origins. It understands that we are part of a much larger picture, a picture that is as diverse as the world itself.
Since seizing control of Mosul last June, ISIS has been meticulously purging the city of its diverse history. Last summer, the militants blew up this ancient tomb, believed to be the burial place of the prophet known as Jonah in the Bible and Yunus in the Quran.
When ISIL destroys dozens of shrines in Mosul, these acts of vandalism are a tragedy for all civilized people, and the civilized world must take a stand.
It's important to note that not all of the artifacts in the video appear to be genuine. Some of them may have been copies, but extremists are also believed to have destroyed thousands of rare manuscripts from Mosul's libraries. Gail?
Thank you, Clarissa. That's hard to watch. And it's hard to see the glee that was taken in destroying something.
Yeah. Hard to watch. This morning, ISIS claims to have destroyed.
I mean, it's pretty sad that, you know, let's take a look at this one.
We joined an Iraqi army convoy on the road to Nimrud. Troops are still battling ISIS militants in parts of this district. But today, the area of the prized archaeological site is safe enough for a top general to see what ISIS has done to the country's cultural heritage. Everywhere here, wreckage of prized artifacts of the ancient capital of the Assyrian Empire, a place mentioned in the Bible. For the ISIS militants, this site was not something to be cherished for its huge historical and archaeological significance. Instead, in their ultra-extremist view, this was a place of false idols and therefore to be eradicated. As part of their propaganda campaign, the militants posted video of Nimrud, sparking outrage around the world. The United Nations calls it a war crime. One particularly poignant part of that crime was the destruction of these, the famed statues of winged bulls at the entrance to the king's palace. Sheikh Ali Al-Bayati, who grew up in this area, tells me 95% of the site has been destroyed. I'm very sad, he says. Sometimes these ruins felt more important to us than our own lives and souls. And what ISIS has done here is just part of a pattern of cultural destruction here in Iraq and in Syria. Richard Galpin, BBC News, Nimrud.
And like I said, I mean, it's really sad to see that, you know, these people that are doing this stuff to their very own I mean, this is stuff that is in their culture. And then you see the extremism where they're like, God, well, Allah says that this stuff is freaking paganism. What does it sound like? What do they sound like? They sound just like Christians going over here talking about, oh, well, this is pagan stuff. And, They ain't got nothing to do with Jesus, and God says, "Thou have no idols before me." Come on, man. This is stuff that is freaking history. This is the cradle of civilization. This is where it all started. And why would you want to get rid of that stuff? Because it shows the true nature of humanity. It shows exactly the information that we want to have to be able to say, this is where we come from. And thank God to people like Eric Von Daniken, Greg Braden, Dr. Stephen Greer, Matthew LaCroix, Billy Carson, and countless other people of doing this research and doing this information search to get this stuff out. And I just thank them for doing that stuff, because without their help, we wouldn't have this information, books and research that they've done to translate all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on that whole ordeal with the covering up of our history. And it goes back thousands of years. I mean, the information that I put out with um um John Jacob Astor the fourth, that was killed in the Titanic. I mean, that guy put that book out in 1980 or 1896, 1894, and that stuff went into so much great detail. I mean, if and we know that he had spoken to Nikola Tesla. So the man was not stupid. The man knew what he was doing. The man knew what was going on. I mean, he was a freaking Mason, for God's sakes. And for people to say that he didn't understand, or it was just a fictional book, I would say 90%, 95% of the stuff that he put in that book, we've already seen come true. Especially Nikola Tesla's, with his inventions as well, cell phones and TVs and microwaves and everything. And that's why I said it's very interesting to see that, they try to hide this stuff from us, but it gets revealed anyway. So that's why I say it's good that we just keep pushing forward and putting this information out there for uh, um, for people to see it, because the more people that we reach and the more people that we get the information out to, it's like planting seeds in people's minds, and that's really good. So I guess I'll go ahead and take some questions if anybody's got any. About anything, I guess. What do you guys want to do? Freak Show Friday, man. What is? Sorry, my internet's jumping in and out, and it's being really stupid. I don't know if anybody's seen on YouTube this, not only on YouTube, but it was on the internet of Pegasus creature. Um, this guy that he was parading it around, and I thought it was really crazy because I know I had posted that video of the griffin on the very first episode. We were talking about it when I was doing mythical creatures. And I'm wondering if anybody else has seen it. On the internet. I'm trying to find, I don't want to go through my Facebook stuff and try and find it because I know there's been some videos also of some Pegasus footage that was caught of these flying, horses. But I guess there was a video that, this guy was like eating through the area. He had it by reins and everything, and he was just leading it out. It was a beautiful, beautiful stallion. That's cool, bro. You should probably get that looked at, because if it's made out of copper, that would be something that you would probably want to have them look at. But no, I haven't even seen that. If you got a video of it, let's see. Oh, you're talking about that giant squid looking thing that looks like that fucking alien from what was it? Independence Day. Is that the one you're talking about? Because I can't find it. It just keeps coming up with that video. Or is it that one with that big old giant what do you call him? Plesiosaurus? Is that what that's called? A big old alligator looking fish? This oil rig was loaded with fish. Use oil rig, blah, blah, blah. Water dinosaur caught on oil rig. Oh, yeah. I have seen this one, dude. The Plesiosaurus. Mosasaurus. Let's check this one out. Shit. Alright, let's check it out together. Alright, here we go. Let's check it out. Alright. real? I don't know. It's pretty cool though. Prehistoric ocean. I mean, if this is real and it's true, and this thing is out in the ocean, I mean, where the fuck did it come from? I mean, this thing's got to be huge. That's just my thought. Where are these things coming from? Yeah, I seen that. I remember they were talking um, about that shark that got eaten, and it had a tracker on it, and they're thinking that it was either a Meg or it was one of these. And like I said, I don't know. That's just something that baffles me because I don't really follow that stuff. I see it every now and then and I'll be like, "Oh man, that's cool." But yeah, going back into, not only just the that in itself, when you think about that, right? And you have the great deluge or the great flood. Think about all these creatures, right? I mean, if it says that these things weren't dead. Not everybody died in the great flood. And we know that because it says in the ancient texts that the people came up out of the earth and were still living. But you got to remember, if these, continents were flooded or these areas that were flooded, the sea life had to have still been living. So if these people were in the water, they obviously got their asses ate by these creatures. And one of these cities is called Derinkuyu. Kuyu, Derinkuyu. And it's crazy because when you look at stuff, it's like it's baffling, but it's smart at the same time because you're like, how? Hold on, let's check this out. Mm, 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 mm. And we'll watch this real quick.
Is clearly tourism.
I love it.
For extra guidance, we're joined by my friend and fellow tour guide, Lali Sermon-Aran. For years, Lali's led our bus tour groups around Turkey, and for this itinerary, she's joining us.
While mainly Muslim today, Anatolia was Christian for 5 centuries before Islam even arrived. early Christians had to take shelter. They had to hide from the ancient Roman persecutions, they had to hide from the 7th century Arab invasions, and the landscape around here provided the perfect hideout.
It really does.
And to actually see what Lolly's talking about, we're descending into Kaimakli, a completely underground city dug out of the rock. Much of Kaimakli was originally dug in Hittite times, over 1,000 years before Christ. Later, this underground world provided an almost ready-made refuge. Through the centuries, when invading armies passed through the area, entire communities lived down here for months at a stretch. In ancient times, Christians were persecuted and actually did go, literally, underground.
I don't think that the narrative that they're trying to push, that these were just Christians that dug this stuff out.
This is a remarkable example of their determination to live free and true to their faith. Imagine 300 AD, hiding out down here with your family. In fact, hiding out down here with your entire community, and people up there hunting you down.
Tourists are free to explore the networks of streets and plazas. You'll find kitchens, cramped living spaces, massive roll-away-the-stone doors, and ingenious ventilation shafts to bring fresh air to the many underground levels.
Ingenious.
They could have made these tunnels bigger, but that was part of the plan. It certainly made any invader vulnerable.
And to conserve oxygen, candlelight was kept to a minimum. It must have been a long, dark wait. But for us, it's back to fresh air and sunshine.
Today we are in Derinkuyu, Turkey, in the region of the Cappadocia. Wow, this is crazy. Kitten. Wow.
If you ask me, I mean, the research that they've done, they know that these complexes that were built in Derinkuyu are a lot more older than what they're, and it was just added on to. Like you said, the Christians went during the persecution. They, you obviously see the mortar.
Now,
and
here outside, cold,
together,
inside is hot.
But that's just an
Come
add-on.
here, summertime,
That's not the
outside
original
hot, inside is
tunnel.
cold.
Okay.
Because temperature the same here.
Okay.
And look at the rock, hot, but inside soft. Touch inside, soft.
Yes.
So it is easy to dig.
Uh-huh.
That's why 3,000 years ago, Hittites were living here, 3,000 years ago.
Okay.
And this one here, look at please.
For cook?
For cooking in potteries.
Okay.
But the smoke come to chimney, but this chimney is not like this. It goes horizontal.
Okay.
So rocks filter smoke. Nobody see where you cook because smoke disappears, finish. Look at this. So, this is for animals. Animals.
For animals?
Tie and put the food, small animals.
Okay.
This is the same.
All right.
Because Christian people also lived here to hide. If soldiers come, they are here. If you put the animals up, soldiers eat them, no good. Here, I need animal.
Yes.
And this one, government closed it. It was open. Connection to the houses.
Okay.
Because normally people live up. If any danger, with the tunnels, they come here. Let me show you another thing.
And as you'll know, the narrative that they go off of is, well, the Christians that were persecuted, they hid down here. Well, if you look at the map of these tunnels, it's fucking deep, man. I mean, it's like 75 stories or something down into the ground.
winery to make wine.
Okay.
They put grapes. They put grapes in the room, there, in the room, like this.
Yes.
And the juice come, fermentation, and they make wine. They use wine as an antiseptic. They use wine in the church's celebration, but the real function, drink. Because no sunshine, you don't feel good. And people slept on the base. They sleep here, everywhere.
Okay.
You can't make rooms for everybody.
Yes.
That doesn't mean people short. They found
It's very interesting to see that. I mean, look at it, it's going down.
Actually, a little nervous.
More
A
room.
little claustrophobic. So, but today, I'm amazed that today, I'm a little surprised that I'm kind of.
You should see this. You should see this. I am sure you will say, wow, please look inside.
Okay.
This is the air shaft for air, 70 meters normally, but now 55 meters. This is well for water, and also this is a lift elevator.
Okay.
And now 55 meters is open. On the bottom there is light, where they put dead bodies in the top. Because freezing cold. No soldier pull them up. You put your light here, please, here. With the light you should see. This is telephone system.
Telephone.
Yes, you put your light here.
Yes.
Because this is parliament meeting place. When parliament talk, other people inside can easily hear what parliament telling.
Do you see the ingenious
So now,
So they use this as an intercom system.
exactly, acoustic echo.
Yeah.
I will go this way and I will show you many other things, not finish. I will show you many other things.
Okay, yeah.
At the end, if you want to come to the bottom, this is the tunnel to bottom. See?
Okay.
35 meters deep. On the bottom, there is a church. On the bottom also, there is a big gallery.
Okay.
Well for water and confessional hall. These are what you will see on the bottom.
Yes.
But first, let's go this way. I show you more. One way, immediately come here. See? And whenever they need, take the food for animals and give them here in the food truck. Winery, step the same system.
It's unbelievable.
So, I mean, as you see, these networks, these tunnels
Now,
weren't just, a place for people to hide. They were living in these tunnels for a long time. And as it says in the Emerald Tablets and what the story from the Bible got during the Great Flood is these giants and like it says, I mean, they even took their animals underground. So it makes sense, that this stuff happened around that time because those things were there way before the Christians even got there, way before the Christians' persecution and all that jazz happened. And they know it. They know it for a fact. This is just stuff that they're trying to tell, people is, oh, well, they came down here, during the Christian persecution, they built all this stuff. And like I said, you see the mortar and the stones that were laid against the rock. It's totally different than what you see in the original carvings and kickouts. And it is crazy to think how these people made that stuff. And I mean, you've seen the shaft when he was, telling them, this is a shaft for pulling up bodies and storing bodies. And it's also another place for a well that they had for keeping the bodies because it was so cold that they were able to keep people that passed away in there. And he was saying that 35 meters below where they were at was the church and the assembly hall. And this place is not the only place that was like that. We find this stuff all over. There is actually one in China. Let me see. I'm just trying to look to see if I could pull it up. Here we go. They're called the Longyu Caves. Longyu Caves. All right, let's check this out because this is fucking cool stuff. Hold on real quick. Got some. Nope. All right, here we go. Let's check it out.
Longyu Caves, and they deserve to be a whole lot more popular. Than they currently are. A lot of this obscurity is pretty explainable. The site was only uncovered about 30 years ago, and only just recently have efforts been undertaken to transform it into a major tourist attraction with the infrastructure to support so many people. It really cannot come quickly enough, as this site is absolutely amazing, and it has all the potential to be just as famous as the Terracotta Army or other major Chinese tourist attractions. As of right now, the site is not unknown, but it mainly serves as a regional Chinese tourist attraction. If you want to be among the first Westerners to see what Longyu has to offer, then you've come to the right place. So stick around, because we're going to give you all the information you need to visit the Longyu Caves, starting of course with how to get there. Also, the channel's growing immensely right now. If you want to help us produce even more content like this, please consider liking and subscribing. Alright, back to the video. The two most popular cities for tourists to China are Beijing and Shanghai.
A whole tourist attraction. And that's not what we want. So let's see. Ancient origins. Nope. Videos. So the thing behind the Longyu Caves is that they really don't know why it was built. And that's the crazy part about it, is that you have this cave system.
Discovered in 1992 by a local villager who set out to empty ponds that residents said were bottomless, the Longyu Caves, located in the village of Xian Beichun in Zhejiang Province, China, are a massive and majestic ancient underground world. The Longyu Caves, also known as the Shaonanhai Stone Chambers, are thought to date back to at least 2,000 years and represent one of the largest underground excavations of ancient times, as well as an ongoing mystery that has confounded scientists from every discipline that has researched them. Scientists from archaeology, architecture, engineering, and geology around the world have no understanding who or why the Longyu Caves were carved into the earth. Currently, 24 hand-carved caves encompassing a staggering 30,000 square meters have been found so far. Each grotto is carved into solid siltstone and descends roughly 30 meters down, with stone rooms, bridges, gutters, and ponds.
Look at that.
The long U caves are supported by pillars that are evenly dispersed throughout the caves, and the walls, ceiling, and stone columns are uniformly decorated with chisel marks in a pattern of parallel lines and ornate designs. Despite their magnitude and the work required to build them, no indication of their construction, or even their existence, has been discovered in archival sources. Despite the fact that the whole excavation involved about 1 million cubic meters of stone, there is no archaeological evidence explaining where that amount of stone went, nor is there evidence of the work being done. Furthermore, there isn't a single historical source that mentions them, which is extremely remarkable given the scope of the undertaking. Despite decades of analysis, the Long U Caves mystery remains essentially unsolved.
And like I said, this isn't just something that is found under one specific area. This is stuff that is all over. And this is one of the things that a researcher and a buddy of mine who does spelunking and does cave diving, and we had brought this up to one of our friends, and I had put the question out there because we know that any time you have a cave system, that cave system can be just one network of many to connect into something else. And as I stated before, this is another one. I'll show it to you. Check it out.
Hi, it's Mike Chen. Brazil is a tropical paradise and home to some of the best foods in the world. Known as the largest country in both South America and Latin America, the nation boasts a beautiful culture and stunning scenery. Brazil is home to the iconic Christ the Redeemer statue in the awe-inspiring Corcovado and Sugarloaf Mountains. Travelers and explorers will find a wonderful slate of fauna such as the giant anteaters, several varieties of sloths, armadillos, otters, and even capybara in the country. However, Brazil also seems to have something mysterious going on under the surface, a network of mysterious tunnels. Geologist Henrik Theodor Frank stumbled across the tunnels while driving on the National Novo Hamburgo Highway. What actually caught his attention was a hole of around 3 feet or 1 meter in diameter at a construction site. He discovered that the hole actually led to a complex underground tunnel. Upon exploration, he found that the tunnel is about 70 centimeters or 2.5 feet high and a few meters in length, with what appears to be scratches on the walls. But what's really interesting about this is that these underground tunnels appear to have been in existence for over 10,000 years. Moreover, it seems hundreds of these tunnels actually exist all over Brazil. The state of Rondônia alone has a large complex of 600 meters or around 2,000 feet long tunnels. And there are at least 2,000 burrows that have been found around the country as well. None of the locals and even experts in the area know where these tunnels came from or who made them. However, tests show that these tunnels are not man-made in origin. Theodore Frank told the National Geographic that, "I noticed that it was a tunnel about 70 meters high and a few meters in length. The interior was full of scratches. When I got home, I looked for an explanation on the internet, but I did not find anything." Urban legends point towards various historical and even supposed mythological origins of the mysterious tunnels. Some say the tunnels were created by Indians, Jesuits, slaves, or even revolutionaries. Others believe that the tunnels are giant anthills, or even made by bears. There are even those who point towards a great mythological serpent that may have used the tunnels as its home. Regardless, geological evidence alone proves that the tunnels were not created by Brazilian natives. The Indians who even before the Europeans arrived, did not use iron and therefore had no means to dig through the hard rocks around the tunnels. And according to Frank, there is no natural geological process known to man that can produce some of the features of the tunnels. These include the circular or elliptical cross sections that branch, rise, and fall around the area. Not to mention the geographic distribution of the tunnels opened yet another mystery to scientists. For instance, the tunnels were only found in the southern part of Brazil, particularly in the states of Rio Grande do Sul and Santa Catarina. While claw marks were found on the tunnel walls, Frank added that animals such as bears may not even be the creators of these tunnels. Prehistoric animals such as giant armadillos or possibly mega sloths may have been able to make these tunnels. Fossils of these sloths found in South America suggest they may have adapted to the area's environment and developed digging skills. Giant armadillos, though shorter than sloths, may also have the skills necessary to dig these tunnels as well. The grooves along the ceiling marks the animals have left whenever they paused or stopped working. But there are those who argue that there are no exact indications that these animals actually lived in the country. Also, the sheer size of the tunnels cannot possibly be made by any kind of giant armadillo or sloth, at least ones that we know of. For example, the giant armadillo, the largest existing member of its family, weighs between...
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the narratives that they always try and put is like, oh, it was just a freaking animal that built it or whatever. This was another one that tripped me out as well.
So what comes to your mind when you hear the word Antarctica? Most likely, cold, snow, ice, and penguins. Yet, this is one of the least explored regions in the world that hides many strange and unique things. Check them out. You don't have to go to Antarctica to see this weird thing. All you need to do is open Google Earth and move to one of the southernmost islands of Antarctica, King George Island. Recently, internet users have noticed a large and pretty strange cave entrance there. Where does this wide, dark passage lead? People started making suggestions. It's the entrance to a secret base or some laboratory. This is the part of the spaceship that crashed there thousands of years ago. This is the door to the ancient city of Antarctica. Perhaps there's a giant rock mountain with an ancient cave beneath all this snow and ice. Well, there's some ideas. Users have calculated the approximate dimensions of this cave. It might be about 74 feet high and 250 feet wide. You could hide a Boeing passenger jet in there. Nature probably created this entrance. This is a logical explanation, but there are two strange factors. First, take a look at the foot of the mountain. It seems that there are steps there. They're dark in color, as if they're made of stone. And if you look closely, you can notice something similar to human footprints. Has anyone entered this cave? Or maybe someone is still living there now. The second oddity is the disappearance of the mysterious finding. For the first time, people noticed it in a Google Maps snap in 2007. Then the entrance disappeared. Then it reappeared a few years later. After that, it vanished. And in 2022, people saw it again. Perhaps old snow melts, a new layer falls, and then the wind blows it away, and the cycle repeats.
I mean, I think it's just crazy that we find this stuff all around the world, and the only explanation that they try to come up with is, oh, there were animals. And it's really sad that we can just throw the narrative that, these entrances to the earth, these cave systems, tunnel systems that are referenced in these ancient texts and these scrolls that have been decoded by these people. And like I said, it says about the last great deluge is that when, hold on real quick. Is that they say that the people went into the earth, they hid, and we know that when the waters receded, they came up out of the ground and were living there. So these people weren't there or they weren't around, other people on this earth, you know, we know that there were at least 3 great resets. And the last one being where we came from, popped up out of, was the Great Flood, which we get the narrative that was taken from ancient text and put into religious aspects because, as I said before, this stuff was documented and recorded thousands of years before Christianity even got its hands on it about God creating men. They took that narrative from ancient cultures. And as I said before, if you don't believe me, research it and look it up for yourself. And a lot of people will get butthurt over it because they don't want to hear that truth. But like I said, I knew that there had to be something more to that. And I always questioned it. And, coming across people that have done ancient translations of these tablets and these scrolls and stuff, I mean, they've found that there were actually pre-Adamites. That's what you call pre-Adamites. Adapu in the ancient Sumerian texts is what he was called by the Anunnaki when they created him. So when the flood came and they were destroying these people because they found that, these people were a little bit too much, getting out of hand, and they were tired of hearing them crying stuff, being too smart, and they just wiped them out. They caused a flood to come over the face of the earth. But we know, like I said, that they hid inside of the earth and they came back. Not everything was wiped out. Excuse me. So yeah, interesting stuff, man. The network tunnel we find, as I said, the major one here, not too far from us in Lovelock, is the Lovelock Caves. And if you ever get a chance to go find that cave system, because they shut off the rest of the networks, the tunnel networks that were in the cave. But you can still see it because there's still openings at the base of the cave when you go to the lower parts of the cave. There's networks that go down into it that they sealed off, or they tried to seal, didn't do a very good job. So we know that there are still tunnels that are going down into the earth from that cave system. And where they go, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure there's probably a bigger network of tunnels that are underneath that cave site. And it's just a cover-up. So yeah. All right. Let me close this. Take the overlay off. All right, cool. But yeah, just wanted to get into that and touch bases on that stuff. And just see what your guys' thoughts were about these, underground tunnels and these vast caverns that they're finding all over the world. And I mean, there's caverns that are so deep and tunnel networks that have vegetation, life, have their own ecosystems. And I know one cave system that they found was so big that the chambers that were in there were so tall that they could hide. I mean, you could place an Empire State Building into the chambers. And the ecosystem and the life systems that were inside of these tunnels were things that people had never seen before. And it went for miles and miles and miles and miles. And to think that these people were destroyed during that great deluge, and when you find this stuff throughout, our planet and our system, underground systems throughout the planet, not just on one continent, but on all the continents, it really makes you think that what if these people survived? What if there are still people that are living in the earth that we haven't seen, because there's places that have not been discovered yet. And if that's the case, can you discount the evidence or the cited the sites, or I'm like so freaking dead right now, the eyewitness accounts of what people are saying of going into these tunnel systems and people coming out and finding these beings or these vast cities underneath the earth in these cave tunnel systems. And as I stated before, Admiral Byrd, one of the well-decorated American heroes of our time, who took the largest fleet ever known to be put together in American history, actually documented and described going into one of these cave systems in Antarctica and flying into it underneath the ice caps, where he said that there was vast cities, and he landed his ship and he got out and he was talking to these people that were there. And they were talking to him and showing him all this technology and showing him around where they were living. And as I stated before, when he died, I think it was his grandson, nephew, or his son, found his book and published it and was like, yeah, here's some excerpts from my, grandfather, uncle, his diary. And like I said, it talks about everything that he witnessed and he saw. Let's check this out. It's 1946.
Jump, the largest expedition ever to travel to Antarctica. With 30 ships, 23 aircraft, and over 4,700 military personnel.
This was very important, that after the conclusion of World War II, Admiral Byrd was asked if he would mount a large armada and go for 4 months. It was supposed to be that they would go in December, January, February, and March, and there was a list of military goals that they were to achieve. But by the end of February, something happened.
One of the mission's official goals was investigating sites for potential military bases in Antarctica. But during his explorations, Admiral Byrd allegedly came upon something highly unexpected.
This story is said to come from his diaries, not his published account of the trip, but something he held back and then later was suppressed by government authorities that found it frightening.
In his diary, which was discovered by his son after his death, Admiral Byrd tells an extraordinary story.
Admiral Byrd heard there was an entrance to the center of the Earth through the South Pole. And he took planes into the South, under the South Pole. And when he did that, he discovered that as he flew over the pole, suddenly he's looking at things that shouldn't be there. I mean, it was temperate. His squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth.
It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story. He tells how all of a sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal. his airplane is taken control of when he suddenly sees these flying disc-shaped objects around him that lead him to the ground. Whereupon he's escorted into a cavernous type of an area where he meets a being he refers to as the Master in his diary. The Master tells him that they're highly disappointed in what humans are doing with nuclear weapons and how they've recently destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they really are concerned about what is going on the surface of the planet. They tell Admiral Byrd that they hope that humanity will ultimately stop this.
For UFO researchers, this account from Admiral Byrd's diary is particularly significant due to the fact that the modern UFO era began right after World War II and the detonation of the first atomic bombs. It has also been noted that a high number of UFO sightings have been reported in the vicinity of nuclear missile silos.
Admiral Byrd's story is congruent with the stories that we hear from numerous accounts of angelic or extraterrestrial type beings that are very concerned about what humanity is doing with nuclear weapons. Just ask the Air Force officers at the U.S. missile silos, the nuclear missile silos, that have seen their silos and their nuclear arms disarmed by what are perceived to be extraterrestrial beings. They're very concerned that we are ultimately not just going to destroy ourselves, but the planet, which is their world as well.
If Admiral Byrd's secret diary is authentic, does it reveal not only that there are highly advanced beings living inside the Earth, but also that they are monitoring what happens on the surface? According to the diary, after this incredible encounter, Admiral Byrd was eager to share his story, but was ordered to remain silent.
Byrd comes back after this experience. He is taken to a government compound where he is told that he is never to speak of this publicly and that everything he says is classified.
Could Admiral Byrd's story point to a profound connection between the ancient traditions of strange beings living inside the Earth and the modern-day UFO phenomenon? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and believe we may be fast approaching the time when we will find ourselves face to face with the beings of inner Earth.
And that's the cool thing, is that you have somebody who had this credibility to state something that he saw, was told to be quiet about it because they didn't want him bringing that out for whatever reason. I mean, if you know what I mean? The guy was just thrown to the wolves and discredited right in front of everybody and, made to look like he was just, some senile, crazy old drunk guy at the end of his days, and he just went away and died. But for, like they said, that the ancient astronaut theorists and the people that have studied and researched this was a big connection between the two, because you have ancient historical accounts talking about these creatures that live in the earth and dwell in the earth. And there is one account of them talking about the earth being hollow in itself, and the inner earth is called Agartha. And these beings that live inside or in Agartha have been the watchers and the protectors of the planet. And there is actually talk about these things, or these beings that they look just like Nordics, tall, blonde-haired, blue eyes, very white skin, but they look like humans, but they're tall. And not only has it been documented in ancient texts, but there is also talk of the Nazis who got a lot of their UFO technology from them by a woman who was said to be from Agartha, from the inner Earth. And as I said before, you can you can look up this information yourself. I'm just throwing it out there because we're talking about this, and it goes hand in hand with this. And she gave them a lot of information about this. And you can look it up. It's season 1, episode 2, the time travel warfare. And it talks about the Derglaka, which is the bell-shaped UFO that this woman who was sharing information with the Nazis actually helped them build. And there is actually video, supposed, recovered video of the Nazis experimenting to see if this thing would fly, and it looks just like something out of a Vamana, out of the Bharat, the Baba Magita, the Indian text. And it's pretty much the same thing, but it's just, a newer technology. Um, yeah, anything. I am trying to find out what her name was. Anyway, so like I said, there was this blue-eyed, blonde-haired female. She was really tall, and she started, helping the Nazis and giving them information. And there are actual pictures of this woman, if you could find them. Just like there's actual pictures of the... Has anybody ever seen The Day the Earth Stood Still? If you haven't seen The Day the Earth Stood Still, and I'm not talking, I mean, you can watch the one with Keanu Reeves. I like that one, but the original one to me stands out a lot because I love it. I used to sit there and watch it with my dad. But if you look up Valiant Thor, okay, what Valiant Thor is an actual story, and this is true, that this alien being came to Earth, was trying to talk to the governments of the Earth, and was telling them, I belong to an intergalactic alliance that has been monitoring your species for millennia. Not only have we had hands in the evolution of your species, but we have also communicated and contacted your ancestors, which goes hand in hand with what we're finding in ancient texts. And he's telling them, listen, you are heading for a place that you don't want to head to. And we need to get this thing under control, because if we don't, I'm not the only one that's going to be coming. There are going to be others that are going to come, and it's not going to be something that you want. So, there's videos out there. Like I said, it's Valiant Thor. There's pictures of this being who came from Venus. And the man was stayed here, and it said that he still lives here. He's still on the planet. I'm just going to show you some of the pictures because, I mean, if you want to look at the videos, you can look at it yourself and check it out. But there is, I mean, it's just, wow. This is him. See if I can go back on here and show it to you. Share screen. Let's go. All right. So this is Valiant Thor right here. This is at one of the government press meetings. He's sitting right in the front. Okay. He's holding that paper. And as you see, that's him. Forgot I could do that. This is Valiant Thor. He's the alien being who came to Earth and was helping the government pretty much take action on things that we were doing and things that we are, to better the humanity and to better the globe. This is him at a get-together, and this woman, who is the blonde woman, who is said to be from Agartha. And as I said, people, you can take what I'm telling you and not believe me, but this woman that's in the blue shirt is the one who came out and was like, yes, I met him. I talked to him. I had conversations with him, because it was her husband or somebody's get together that she met him. And there's Valiant Thor right here, and here is the blonde woman. And as I stated, he says that he comes from Venus, and he was sent here to let humankind know that they were headed on a destructive path. And here he is again. Son of a... Gosh dang it. Here he is again. Older, a little bit older. Because as you got to understand, from what they were saying, his body that he was inhabiting or that he was using age, he was not human. He was not a human being. He just took that form because it allowed him to show himself to people and to be able to walk around amongst us. As I stated before, you can look this up yourself. Look up Valiant Thor. Look up the videos, the documentaries on it, and what his mission was and what he's, the people that worked there were stating that he was here for. And this is the book right here by Dr. Frank E. Strange's Stranger at the Pentagon. Now look, folks, these are people who were on their dying bed, who released this information, these pictures. But this man was sent here to try and help humanity, and as they stated, he's supposedly still here. And the guy says that he knows. Hold on. Let's see. Was trying to see if I can find here's one. I think this is it. Give me a minute. All right, let's see if this one will pop up. If we could see it.
1957, a stranger asked if he may speak with President Eisenhower on behalf of the High Council. When asked where he was from, the man responded, "I come from the planet your Bible calls the morning and the evening star." "Venus?" Eisenhower asked. "Yes, sir." As tensions of the Cold War continued, his main goal was to stop nuclear warfare. He was seen landing his UFO in Virginia, where he asked the responding officers telepathically if he may speak with the president. Glowing white in a jumpsuit, Val appeared human. The only noticeable difference was an extra finger on each hand. Val was not only granted a conversation with the president, but was given VIP status at the Pentagon, complete with a fully furnished apartment. Through several meetings with Eisenhower and other high-ranking officials, Val worked to convince them to create a council against nuclear weapons. Ultimately, the plea for a council was shut down. Val turned to Frank Stranges. Frank met with Val numerous times, even writing a book about his otherworldly friend. With no one discrediting photos of Val, is this proof of extraterrestrial life?
Like I said, you have these people who are credible witnesses who see these things. And as I stated before, you have people who have worked with government officials or worked in the government. And as they're dying, they bring out all this vast amount of knowledge and information because they're like, screw it. I'm just going to let everybody know what happened. And if you believe me, you believe me. If you don't, you don't. But we know that this man was real because, like I said, there are accounts in his book where he talks to the officers, and the officers that actually brought him to their chief were like, "We need to take this man to the Pentagon. We got to take this man to the government." And as stated, he was not talking to them with his mouth; he was talking to them in their mind. Just like right now, if I don't say anything, but in my head I say what I'm going to say, it's the same thing, telepathic messaging. So if this man, which, like as I stated, is being brought up by credible witnesses and credible personnel who have worked with the government, and Dr. Strange obviously was working on some scientific research stuff for the projects that were going on in the government. And this man turns around and writes a book about it. In the book, he states that I'll let you read it. It's really good. I read it online. I highly recommend that if you don't get a chance to buy it, go online. You could find it online. If I get a chance to after the show, I'll if I find it, I'll post it on there and you guys can check it out. But it's really cool. But Valiant Thor was so pleased and happy with the life on Earth and became very human-like that he decided to stay. And the government concealed his identity, gave him a place to live that was government-owned property. And like I said before, and I think it was episode 2 of The Secret of the Unknown, the reason why we have national parks is because it's easier to conceal stuff in the national parks because you can't have flyovers. You can't have people just randomly going deep into the national forest and finding things. And obviously you do have people who test those theories and do things like that, and they go missing, or they get murdered and they get found, or the government snatches them up. Because we have whistleblowers who come out of the government and talk about these things of, yes, there are creatures, there are beings, there are entrances into the inner earth on national parks. There are things that they're trying to hide and conceal, because what better way for you to do it? Buy up 250,000 acres of land or something, designate it a property of the government, and you can't go in there. So you can hide things. So this is one of the things that they did, is they hid Valiant Thor, his location, and he's still here. But he's waiting because, just like the ancient texts state, the ancients are supposed to be coming back. And at that time, where we see now in ancient texts and in the adaptation by religious cultures, you're talking about the second term coming of Christ or the rapture or the great awakening or whatever. But these beings are saying that they were going to come back to rectify humanity, to set it right, the great reset. Because we were either going to destroy ourselves or we were going to get to that point where we were just going to start killing ourselves off. And they wanted to save as many people as they could, because not everybody on this planet is corrupting. You have innocent people. And that's like I said, that's just one of the narratives. Do your own research and check it out for yourself. I'm not here to shove it down your throat and say, yeah, this is total fact. I have looked into it. And that's just something that I think that, for you to get your head wrapped around it is to research it and look into it yourself. But yeah, it's very interesting, man, to see a lot of the things that are hidden by the government that we, when we do our research, we're finding it out, and the correlation between, what other people who have done that research or who are putting out the evidence. You could put two and two together and go, okay, well, this is starting to jive up with what other people have said and the other evidence that it's coming forth. It goes hand in hand. And one of the other things I was going to jump onto with the topic of that is that there is I'm going to put this stuff on the page so you can research it and look it up yourself, is that another guy that has a YouTube channel and a TikTok channel. I got off of TikTok because this whole thing with them correlating with freaking China and their government to silence people on their platform, and they're just working for them. I just kind of got off of that, so I don't support them anymore. But this guy got documents that were coming off of NASA and from the CIA, declassified documents. But did you know that every test that the government does regards to flight, ships, measurements, fucking pretty much anything to do with our plane that we live on, the measurement or the thing that they put it up to or to base its measurements off of is off of a flat earth theory. I know I'm getting onto a touchy subject that a lot of people are going to go, all right, this motherfucker's done lost his mind. I'm changing the channel. As I stated before, I'm not a global head, and I'm not a flat earther. I'm a person that looks at the evidence and the research and the things that are presented. Now, why would the government or NASA, their whole purpose is space exploration and the exploration of our plane of existence that we live on, in their documents, base their measurements and all their testing on everything that they do on a flat earth narrative theory? I don't know, unless they know something and they're not wanting to tell everybody, because like with everything else, they're hiding the narrative because they don't want to give it out. They don't want to create panic. They don't want to create chaos on the earth, because everything that they've hidden from us, their main narrative is people will not be able to handle the truth. They can't. What would be the implications if we knew that we lived under a dome? We're not able to leave this plane, and it's fucking flat. What if there are other lands outside of the ice wall, which, as I stated before, look up what Admiral Byrd talks about, because he does talk about going through a narrow passageway through the ice wall that led to other lands past it that are only opened up certain times of the year or certain times on a number of times a year, every 5 years, every 3 years, every 10 years, every 7 years, something like that. And it's off of the coast of Australia at a certain degree, an azimuth. And if you look at the flat Earth map, sure as fucking shit, there is an opening in the ice wall that leads to an outside area outside of the ice ring. As I stated before, this man was a professional. He knew what he was doing. He was hailed as a hero. He was highly decorated. I don't understand what the point of him lying about something like that would be. If he did it, he saw it, he observed it, he wrote it down. And it wasn't just him, it was other people who have done this stuff. So as I said before, this is something, I'm just throwing it out there. Do your research yourself. Look it up, because that's a rabbit hole you will have to go through your own and be blown away and question everything. We can't just take what they're shoving down our throats for face, we can't just take it for face value, because we know that they lie about everything. They're hiding shit from us because they want to keep us stupid and dumb. It's a control thing. It's always been about control. If you could control the masses and you could keep them under control by giving them limited information, we only know what they tell us. I've never fucking flown to the Antarctic. I've never fucking been down to the South Pole, to the ice wall. I've never been to the North Pole. But if they tell us that the Earth is round, that's all I know, because I've never been to space. I'm not in control of the videoing of space. I'm not in control of the footage that they show on the space station. But I do know it's bullshit. It's been debunked. It's been freaking, you've got people freaking sitting there on these bungee cord things strapped to their waist, and the guy's grabbing them, and, he's holding them. And we're at that point in our stage of humanity where it's easy to fake and lie and deceive people. So, look at AI. Now it's going to be hard to tell the truth from reality. I think the whole purpose of them releasing this AI was to do exactly that. And now once it gets out of control, it's going to be a monster that they're not going to be able to put back inside of, a genie that they're not going to be able to put back into the bottle. And they're going to be fucked. We all are. Because it's not going to be able to, it's going to be something that's going to grow out of control. But at the same time, I think that there's going to be a lot of things that are going to come out that is going to be phenomenal in the fact that it's going to break open the narratives that we've been told for so long, and the things that have been hidden from humanity for so long. I think that the disclosure movement, it might not happen in the way that Dr. Stephen Greer and a lot of these people are thinking, but I think that it is going to happen. And I think when it does, it's going to happen at a time where humanity is going to be able to accept the fact of the information that they're being presented with in a manner where they're going to say, okay, what now? What do we do? But I don't think that that time is now, because, look at where we're at right now. You've got the United States not able to stop Israel because they're wanting this war to keep going, and they're funding them and they're giving them weapons. And, it's just total chaos. We're not at that point yet where we can handle this type of mass information or awakening of the, humanity itself. I don't think we're at that point. And once it does happen, I pray to God that it does, for our kids' sake, because the future of our children, I hope, will be a lot better than what we're going through right now, for their sake, and a drastic change is going to happen, and I think that's one of the things that's going to affect our future generations is going to be this information that's going to come out when people are ready. Somebody's going to do something. I mean, you have people like Julian Assange who are being persecuted for sharing information that the government has been hiding. Oh, well, it's espionage. And, he's hacked into the system and, he leaked information that could be detrimental to the government. No, he fucking leaked shit that you guys have been hiding. You didn't want to get out. It's public now. And now you want to put the guy in jail because he fucking blew the lid on some of the shit that you guys were hiding and the things that you were doing. But you can do that to normal people. If somebody that, is not a normal citizen, if they were to do something, you're going to freaking bust their ass and put them in prison to never see the light of day. But it's okay for the government to lie. It's okay for the government to hide things from us and use the name of freedom in the name of freedom and security. And as I stated before, I think that's one of the things that I appreciate about a lot of these people that are doing their due diligence and their research and are putting this information out there is we're trying to get humanity back on course, because we don't want to have to go back and repeat the faulty history that, our fathers and our grandfathers had to go through and our ancestors had to go through. We're trying to make up for that and move forward in enlightenment and awareness to help people understand the true nature of what we're living in, breaking out of this matrix. That's what it's all about, is getting out of this freaking shell of bullshit. And, people are always going to call you crazy because if you're thinking outside of this box and you speak about things that are outside of this narrative box that we've all grown up on, of course you're fucking crazy. How can you think about something like that? That can't be possible. Can it? Why can't it be possible? Why can't it be fact? Why can't it be real? Because of what we've all grown up and what we've all known for a long time to be supposed truth, that we have to take it for face value. We have to believe this shit. They show us pictures of the people landing on the moon. They show us people in outer space. They show you videos of these people walking around on space. And then they come out and they're talking to you about everything and just shoving it down your throat, blah, 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 like it's supposed to be real. But they have fucking space stations that are simulated to look exactly like what they're showing you on TV. Can they make a person fucking float without leaving the Earth's atmosphere? Yeah, they can. Can they make a simulation look like it's freaking a rocket going into space or like the Earth from afar? Yeah. Why the fuck do you think that they haven't put another man on the moon? Because they don't know how to. They can't do it. If we had the technology 50 years ago to put a person on the moon, wouldn't it be safe to say that they would have advanced their technology to fucking colonize that son of a bitch? Yes. But we didn't. Because something happened where they found out the truth. They fucking knew they messed up. They weren't going to be able to freaking push that narrative down everybody's throat anymore. So it stopped. Wernher von Braun wanted to be in Mars, colonizing Mars 10 years after that mission. That was their freaking goal, was to put a man on Mars 10 to 15 years from that time. They were so hyped up and they were so ready to do it. Something happened in between that time that shut that program down. And the narratives that we've been told ever since, with all the Challenger launches, for all you young bucks that don't know what the Challenger program was, look it up. But I will say this, I believe that the space station is up in the atmosphere of the Earth. but I don't think it's left the Earth's atmosphere. And if the moon is within our atmosphere, why have we not been on there? Why have we not put a man on there? Why have we not colonized it? Why have we not built on that damn thing? You got to ask yourself these questions. If we've had the technology to make it to the moon, why have we not been there? Why have we not colonized it? But they just sent a rover with all this technology from X to land on the moon without a human being on it, but we don't have the technology. It doesn't make sense. It really, really doesn't. Question everything, folks. So, as I said before, I hope that you guys do your own research, look into this stuff. Don't just take what I'm telling you for face value. I'm just putting the information out there. Look it up yourself. Do your own research. Read books. Go to the fucking library. Go online. Order books. Look at them. Read them. Investigate into stuff. Sometimes people are more fortunate than others. I don't have the fortunality to freaking be able to get on a plane and fly down to South America or go to Egypt or go to these places around the world to be able to look at these sites firsthand. I don't know. Maybe you're capable of doing it, or maybe you live in those areas. Look at where you're at. Do research on historical anomalies. And think, is this natural? Why is this here? They're telling us that it was made by a bunch of people with chisels and hammers and stones. But is it possible? Look at that stuff. The narrative of our history was written by people who just wanted to control everything. So do your research. Question everything. Get out there and find it. It's there. The history and the truth is around all of us. Anywhere. I mean, there's people on my page that are from the Middle East. There's people on my page from Russia. There's people on my page from South America, Africa, Egypt, Canada, Greenland, Iceland, Scotland. I really wish that, I'm glad that while I was in the military, I was able to join at a time where I could go to these places at a time and see some of these sites for myself and touch it and actually stand in a spot where a lot of historical events happened and see it for myself. Because when you do things like that, it brings to the reality when you see these giant megaliths and these structures, or you see these holy sites that are holy where these gods or these people that got information from these gods were and stood, it makes it validating to be able to see it, touch it, feel it, and feel that the energy on these sites. It's very awesome. So if you live in these areas and you're able to go out to these sites and you're able to go to these places, please do so. You don't understand how rich or how lucky you have it if you're able to do that stuff. So get out there, explore it, research it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show and we were able to look at some stuff and talk about a couple of things. And be safe out there. Have a good weekend. Thank you guys again for coming along on this Friday adventure. It was great. I love it. We always have fun when we get on here and we talk. And hopefully you guys will be able to bring some stuff to the table. And we can talk about it on the next episode, next Friday, or throughout the week. Just hit me up on Facebook or YouTube and just leave a message. And I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. I try and answer everybody as much as I possibly can, but sometimes it doesn't happen. So with that, thank you guys again for joining me on this episode 9 on Secret of the Unknown. And I'm glad that we were able to talk about some stuff. And As I said before, research, look at stuff, question everything, and don't take anything for face value. And I'll just see you guys next week. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Woohoo! Stay safe out there.